most people sleep on sound effects. They ignore it because they think it doesn't really add that much value when it really does. They think, oh, it's so much work when it really doesn't need to be actually. I'll teach you later. Because when we're talking about audio, the best audio is when the microphone is closest to the source. For example, the camera is right there. If it were to be without the lavalier microphone I have here, it wouldn't sound as good. Or for example, if you see a train in the distance, it will never sound as good if it was a little closer. Of course, you can download the sound effects individually on YouTube, but the best ones and the easiest way to do it is with your premium platform. For example, on Epidemic Sound, you have a tab on sound effects, and there you can just write whatever sound you desire. A background sound, a closing the door sound, really anything you can possibly think. With that said, there are two types of sound effects. One is the realistic ones, the nice sounds of the wave, of the beach, the train, the door closing. And the second type of sound effects are the dramatic ones. These don't really exist kind of in real life. You don't hear them in real life, like a whoosh or an impact. These add emphasis, weight, and a little bit of drama to it. So this is what we'll cover in the next two lessons. I'll see you there. These realistic sound effects make it so that the viewer, it kind of, you can touch the video. Sound is so important, and by having it right there at the perfect moment, it elevates your video. It makes it feel more tangible. It sounds so satisfying. But the important part is to not overdo it, not to use your sound effect too loud, to make it a bit too obvious. You want to be more subtle about it. Because our human brain is wired to understand sound in great detail. Don't believe me? What if I told you you can distinguish between hot water and cold water being poured on a cup? For example, and so yeah, the first one was hot water and the second one was cold water. That's how much in detail that is. That's why it is really important to find the right sound effect. If you're opening a door, if it's a wooden door, you can hear it. If it's a metal door, you can also hear that. And that's why for me in the premium music platform, I write specifically what I want. Wooden door or small object, big object falling, things like that. And for you to really understand, I'm going to show you a short video on where most of the sounds are fake. They're fake, but they're realistic fake, added in a good sense.
北京烤鸭买一送一，北京烤鸭买一送一。
With that said, I'll see you in the next one. In the previous lesson, we learned how in detail you can hear these sound effects and how important they are for a video. And in this video, we'll learn about the other spectrum, the dramatic sound effect, the types of it and where you can use it. For the dramatic sound effect, I have a few ones I usually use. They're in different categories. So for example, I have the boom sound. And I just use them sometimes when I'm putting something and to add some emphasis, it's there. Or if I'm showing a photo, I have a camera shutter sound. Or if I'm placing something, which is something I do often, then or sometimes if I'm doing a transition, I like to use a switch sound. Or if I'm doing something like text, then I use the winding sound. And of course you can cut and extend it more or make it shorter. If you want to sound professional, you shouldn't overdo them. But of course, if you're doing a comedic video, a more casual video, you can overdo them for comedic effect. These are sound effects I personally have on my folder ready to use so that I don't have to search them every time. So with that said, I'll see you in the next one.